My favorite thing about Charmed is that they're not rich. Yeah, they live humble lives where they work for the things that they have. Because when you have spiritual gifts, people really treat you like, can you really be like gifted or chosen if you're not a multi-millionaire, multi-billionaire driving around in nice cars, living in multiple homes across countries? People treat you as if like your gift automatically means money's going to come to you. But that's not the case. Once you have like spiritual gifts, your biggest fear is either losing it or perversing it. And if you start using it too much for your own personal good, you can end up perversing it to the point where the gift works against you or the gift becomes useless. And then if you're really spiritually gifted, everything in hell wants access to your spiritual gifts. They want to use you as a vessel, and if they can't, then they want your spiritual gifts, period. They want you to sell it, and you have to sell it out of free will. But in order for you to sell it, they don't just take your gifts. They take all the spiritual gifts of everybody in your bloodline that's to come. Unless God himself were to say, like, you can only take up to 4 generations, and then God chooses somebody by the 4th generation or something. But unless that, they will literally come in and rob everybody in your bloodline of all their spiritual gifts. Like, God literally will have to intervene in order to stop it. Because once you sign that blood contract, you don't just hand over your spiritual gifts, you hand over the spiritual gifts of everybody in your family, everybody that you love and care for. It's not a joke. And you're so busy fighting all these demons. You're either fighting to not lose your gift, you're fighting to not lose your mind, you're just fighting. Even if you're not fighting your own demons, you're helping other people fight their demons, and you got to find some normalcy in all of it, and you still have to pay your bills. So there's like all these rules that you actually cannot just break like that when you have spiritual gifts, or else you end up losing it. You can really end up losing it. Like, it's not a joke. And I love that they portray that, because so many times I'll tell people, like, yeah, I do have spiritual gifts, but I'm not saying it to brag. I'm saying it to help them, because God clearly sent me in their life to help them. And they'll look at me like, can you really have spiritual gifts if you're not driving like a Mercedes or something? Like, and then, like, bitch, if you don't need my help, that's fine. I'm not going to force it on you. I'm just letting you know you got one more strike before I walk away and I refuse to help you, and you're left figuring it out on your own. And I promise you, you're more than likely not going to be able to without my spiritual gifts, without my help. So if you forfeit the help, you can't turn around and say, oh, God, you forsake me. You did. Nope, nope, nope. Because God did send you someone. And look what you did. You stuck your nose up at that person. Now your karma is to suffer, you know? But I just think that's like, I love that about Charmed. Thank you so much for portraying that, because people will absolutely try to play in your face and disrespect you when you have spiritual gifts, only because they keep thinking your spiritual gifts are supposed to come with monetary rewards. And it's like, no, when you have spiritual gifts, you get rewards in different ways. And more often than not, you get rewards of things that you can't brag about or tell anybody about. So it kind of sucks, but it does make those gifts even more special, even more sentimental. And when you do get them, you do cherish them a little bit more, because, like, you know, but I'm glad they portray that.